The first thing that I want to show you is the feed view. That's a new database view that you can add to any database, whether it be the source database, like I'm here in the meeting notes, if it is a linked database view or an inline database that you have. And when we add the view in there, the new option is feed. And feed can be useful to visualize the content of pages quickly at a quick scan on that database view. So it is useful generally for pages that have content in them. For example, it might be a company updates database that you want people to scan through easily on a page without having to open each database item. Or it might be meeting notes, like I'm going to show you in this example. It might be blog posts that you want to quickly scan over time in a feed. Or you might use it to visualize a specific highlight from a database. So using a filter that shows only the entries of your journal for today or for this week, and that makes it easy to scan without opening the pages. So when I click on feed, you will see here, that's the feed view. I can show the page icon that's right here next to the title, or I can hide it. I can show the author by then. The author is the person who created that page, like so. Or I can hide it, and then as per usual, I can open the pages in side peek, center peek, or full page. That's for every database view except chart. And then the load limit is how many pages are going to load the first time that this view is opened by a user. So let's do 10, for example. That's okay in this example. Once I click done, then there is the familiar interface that I'm going to go through in details in this video for the database settings, so I can show or hide properties. For example, here is a meeting notes database. Let's say I want to see all the meetings of the week and able to scan them quickly. So I want to show the date and time right here. Maybe the meeting lead, the participants in here, and the meeting type. Okay, then I'm going to filter by date and time is this week. Let's do this month so we can actually see data here. And then I can sort by date, descending, so the latest meetings are going to be at the top. Now, when I see this view, I will then be able to easily see all the page content, in this case the meeting agenda, the notes, the action items, directly here without having to open the page. I'm not able to edit that content. As you can see here, I can see the editing menu. I can turn something into a toggle, but if I select text and I try to write, nothing happens. So I can't actually make edits. And if I want to open the page, then I click on the title here, and this opens the page as per usual, and I see the same content, but on the page model. When I click on the three dots here there is the edit property, so it's like clicking three dots on a database item on a table, for example. Same menu to edit the database item shows up right there. Now, let's look at the database settings, because there's been a recent redesign on the settings of databases. Here, how to show properties, how to hide properties, how to edit properties on a database, and the user interface has changed a bit. So let's look at it. Here is a database. This is a source database in the full page. There are three views in here. You can see the first update that I noticed is that views have become round, so there is a corner radius in these views here. So the design is a bit different than it was before. Another thing to notice here is that when there is a grouping on a view, for example, a board view is grouped by status in this case. When I go to the settings here, status, I can pin specific groups if I want them to stay always visible, even when I hide empty groups. For example, if I hide empty groups, in this case, there are no waiting on tasks, and so that is fully hidden from this view. But if I want it to stay there also when it is empty, then I can pin this group like so, and it will remain pinned here. Or I can click on the eye icon and this will show it normally. Now, on the database settings here, there are a few changes. The layout is always the same. So here is the section where I can select what view I want the database to be in. If it is a board view or a gallery view, you can select the card preview if you have an image, for example, or the page content shown as a preview on each card. And then the card size and other settings here. And now editing properties on a view has been split into two sections. One that allows us to manage property visibility, where I can hide or show properties and reorder them on the cards or on the table view as columns, like so. But in here, I can't really click on a property to edit it. If I want to edit a property, then I can go to the Edit Properties menu. And this is where I can click on a property and then change the name, add the description here, the tooltip, change the property type, and then do property specific changes depending on the property type that I'm working with. In addition, on the Edit Properties menu, when I go to Recently Deleted, I can see all the properties that were deleted from this database over time. And a new update is that now I can permanently delete all of them. The locked database setting also has moved on this section. Before, it was only available here from the 3 dots, locked database. Now it is also available. And when I lock a page or a database in Notion, if I click on locked, I can now unlock it only for me or for everyone. So this is another new feature recently released. Then there are more settings. More settings allow us to set subtasks. Subtasks add a two-way relation on the database for parent and sub items, so that it creates this toggle structure where I can have one parent item and then one or multiple sub items within it. This is very popular for tasks, but it can also be used with projects, for example, with projects and sub projects. Or you might have a teams database where we show teams as the parent and then all the sub teams or all the people within that team as sub items. So those are some example use cases for sub items. Dependencies. Similarly, that creates a two-way relation, and dependencies then allow us to view those blockages in a timeline view. For example, if I go to projects and I look at the timeline view here, if we have a dependency, then we have this arrow that we can easily have between projects, as you can see here, and then there is the dependencies menu to set this up. I'm not going to go in details on this aspect here. I did make a video about this in the past, so you can watch that if you're interested in it. Then there is the connections menu. Connections are third-party tools here, as you can see, that we can create on the database. This will create a property that's a special type of property, as you can see from the preview here. It connects to an external tool, for example, Zendesk or Figma or GitHub or Google Drive. These are the options right now. And then you can directly link to items or to files within the tool from Notion without having to leave the platform. And that's a link to that file. Currently, we can't add or populate this link via the API. And finally, there is the page layout. That was a recent update in the past few months. I made a full video about it. And then turn into tasks is a special type of database that shows up in Home. So when a database is a task database, those tasks assigned to you will show up under My Tasks. That is a widget in Home, and it's an aggregated view of all tasks. I also made a video about this some time ago. Now, so far we've seen all the settings of a database in full screen mode. So that's a full page database. But if you look at a linked database view or an inline database, then here, for example, I open a project and I see all the related tasks. That's a linked database view that I created by using the /linked database view command here. And when there is this kind of view, I can minimize the settings panel like so. And this is user specific. So if I do this, it doesn't apply to everyone else in my workspace, just for me. So it's more of a user preference here in terms of interface. And if I click on the 3 dots, I can open the settings menu easily. And I will see all the same options here. You can see at the task database, when it is a task database, the sprints option shows up. This will create a sprint database. I made a video about this some time ago. This is a predefined set of template where you can mark sprint as done and it completes all the tasks, and you can only have one sprint active at a time. And this is useful for teams that work in sprints, meaning organizing work in specific blocks of time. It could be a few weeks, or it could just be a structure to organize work without a duration, but that you might call sprints, so that you can break down projects into sprints and organize work properly into tasks within those sprints. Another recent update was the addition of tabs into layouts that allows us to select, that allows us to easily create linked database views without having to set up all the dynamic filters like so. I'm on the project page. I can see all the related tasks here by clicking on this tab. And this can be added from customized layout. Then page settings, tabbed, and then I can add tabs like so from relations. I made a video about this and you can watch that to go into details about it. Whenever I set up a tab in database, you can see that the configuration menu is much more minimalistic than the one that I just showed you. So in here, I can set up the layout, the property visibility, like before, the filter, sorting, grouping, and I can edit properties. But all the other configurations are not present in here. So that's a minimized settings panel for the database when in a tabbed layout mode. So this is not really the place to make significant changes to the database. Rather make those in the source database, in my experience, where you have all the options. And this concludes this video. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below. If you want to work together, contact me via the form in the description of this video. For now, thanks for watching and see you soon.